I'm live. Aloha and welcome. I am your ceremony leader, Geralyn Joseph. I am a natural born psychic intuitive. I also do relationship empowerment coaching, amongst other things. And we are here tonight because of the full moon. The full moon tonight is in Taurus and it is a super moon. There's a lot going on. But if you find this later and you find that you want to just do the ceremony itself, I will try to make sure. Happy full moon, Carol. You're a Taurus. Awesome. Um, I'll try and put the timing in the doobly doo below. And if you guys want to write it in the chat when the time comes, that'd be great too. So before we even get started, don't forget to subscribe and put the bell on if you want to know when I do stuff like this, because I am a very, very spontaneous person. So a lot of times I'll just get it in my head. Spirit will say, go on now. And that's when I will just come on with absolutely no warning whatsoever. So just so you know, that's the way I roll. So tonight's full moon, what makes it different? There are several things that make it different, actually. One of the things that makes it different is the fact that it's a supermoon. What does a supermoon mean? It means that the way it appears from Earth, it looks bigger than normal. I believe this is the last supermoon of the year, and this is 2024, in case you're watching this later. And we are in March of 2024. So the supermoon being in Taurus at this time means it's about grounding and becoming more. It's kind of like an oxymoron. So two different things are happening. One is we are preparing and moving, and we are preparing, though, to become more comfortable. So right now we may not be comfortable, and what we're doing is we're moving towards something. And that something that we're moving towards has to do with being in a better space, allowing things to come into us. So some of the things that we need to do are we need to move things out. So the full moon is usually about pulling things in and then moving them out. So this one is about that process. Generally, if you do a new moon ceremony, it's about what you're bringing in. Then the new moon is making space for that by moving things out. However, this particular full moon has all that wrapped up into one because the energy is really intense right now. It's moving very quickly. This is one of the times where I would definitely say be careful what you wish for, because things are manifesting quickly. May not manifest exactly the way that you want it to, but they are manifesting quickly. So be very aware of your thoughts. Try not to overthink things and move towards your intuition. How do we know when it's our intuition versus just our thoughts? Well, your thoughts oftentimes, if you really pay attention, they're not always in your voice, and they're not always in spirit's voice. I do a whole class on this because the older you get, sometimes the more time or the more discernment it takes to be able to figure out what is spirit's voice and what is your voice. And the reason why I say those two voices is the one is your higher self, it's the Godhead, it's your guardian angel, your guides, however you want to call it. But it is something that is there for you, trying to shepherd you into a better space. And then your voice is your thoughts. And your voice might mimic things that have been told to you, or sometimes you hear voices in your head, and whatever's being said, if you really think about it, it's stuff that's been said to you in the past or things that have happened to you in the past. For instance, if you have a parent who is very critical. You may have a critical voice in your head that every time you make the smallest mistake, "Oh, you're so stupid. What are you doing? Why did you think you could do that?" And then you kind of berate yourself. That's not you. That was implanted there by someone else, and it is something else. So when we get these kind of thoughts, we need to be able to step back, take a breath, and tell it basically to be quiet, because it's not us and it's not our higher selves, because our higher selves and our connection to spirit would not speak to us that way. It speaks to us the way you would speak to someone that you loved, not someone that you hated. So you already ate, Pika. My cat is coming. She wants my attention. As always, she just got dinner. What do you want, baby? You gonna come up here and make an appearance? You gonna come up? No? Okay. She's gonna make me look like I'm crazy and talking to myself. That's okay. So when we hear things like that in our heads, we need to be aware that that's not something we need to be listening to, and that's not something we need to ruminate on or keep thinking about or allow to continue. We need to tell it to be quiet. And oftentimes in the beginning of when you're beginning to own your own voice, you will need to tell it not just to be quiet, but to go away and maybe argue a little. That's not true. I am capable. I can do this. I am intelligent. Um, Maybe I bit off more than I could chew. I'll do better next time. Whatever it is that you need to get yourself over the hump. So this full moon is about recognizing the voices in our heads that we should be listening to versus those that we're not. When we talk about Taurus, Taurus has a lot to do with the home and being comfortable and shelter. And it's also about having a presence. You have a bigger presence than you realize. Whether it is a Taurus moon or a Taurus sun, or you have Taurus placed somewhere in your chart that is substantial or particularly important, like maybe your Mars is in Taurus, which means, when you get mad, man, you get mad. So looking to see where it is in our charts can help, but also knowing that this is the general feeling at this time. So Taurus can be stubborn. And one of the things we need to look at in ourselves is that we need to get rid of whatever it is that's holding us back from becoming everything we're meant to become. And it's holding us back from fulfilling our soul contracts. How do we know what this is? Well, if you notice that you keep going through a cycle and doing the same thing over and over and over again, and you don't seem to get anywhere, that generally has to do um, with an impediment. So you could look at it two ways. Either, hey, I'm not supposed to be here, depending on how things maneuver for you, or something's stopping me. And the difference between those two things, I believe, is how you're feeling inside about it. So we're not talking about surface feelings, like you're feeling frustrated. Everybody's going to get frustrated in that kind of a sense. But is this something that is something that you need to do? For whatever reason, Spirit is showing me Abraham Lincoln. So Abraham Lincoln, when he was in law school and everything, he really didn't have any ideas of becoming president of the United States. What happened was, from what I have read, is that he had a reading and he was told that he was going to be president of the United States. And then he was like, oh, that's an interesting idea. And it caught on, it took a hold of his heart, because that was what he was supposed to do. He just needed somebody to tell him that. But his first attempts of going into politics did not go well at all. So he had to fail a few times and really work for it before he actually became a politician and became president. And even then, I mean, how difficult of a presidency could you possibly have than to have the country split in two like that. So when there's something that's in your heart that you know you're supposed to be doing and you keep trying and something keeps knocking you off course, that generally shows you that there's something blocking your way. There's something you got to move out of the way. It could be something that's behind you holding you back, like maybe you need to move, but you don't want to move because you're comfortable where you are. Or maybe it's about going with a company that you've never heard of, taking a chance, taking a risk. Oftentimes, in order for us to become everything that we're meant to become, it does involve some risk. And we all know you get stronger the more you work a muscle. So, your muscle of intuition, the more you follow it, the stronger it gets, the more you can do, and the more you can follow it then afterwards, because you'll have more and more faith in your intuition then. The other thing we often do to ourselves is we overthink things. I know myself, I have to tell myself several times, stop overthinking. Because I'll go to do something and at first it'll be clear as day and I'll know exactly what I want to do and what I want it to look like. And then as I get into it, then questions start coming in. And then the more I look around, the more, oh, I could use that and I could use that. I'm definitely the kind of person who I see I see opportunities everywhere. I see the different lives of everything in front of me. So I see like, oh, I could use this as that, and I don't wanna get rid of that, because we could use it for that. Like, for instance, I have no idea what this came from, but we had, like, these circular, foam things, and I kept them, and everybody's like, "Why are you keeping that? That needs to just put it in the trash." I'm like, "No, no, I know I'm gonna use it." And then my child now has a loft bed, and we put on the side of the loft bed where you stand up and hit your head, we have these foam things right where you would hit your head. We have it. So, it came in useful. So, I saw an opportunity with that, and then I remembered that I had it, and then we used it. I have a friend, Jody, who's amazingly creative. Probably one of the most creative people I've ever met in my life, like, just brilliant. Can look at things and just her head just does all these machinations and can make something beautiful and artistic out of anything. And it's amazing to have that kind of a talent. It's even more amazing to recognize that you have that kind of a talent and go with it and do it and allow yourself to create and allow yourself to do those things. What often happens is in order for us to move forward, we need to leave some things behind. Now is a great time for that. Now is a great time to clean your house, give stuff to good people, get stuff out of the way because you're making space for something else to come. This is something we even do with relationships. Do you have people around you just because they've been around you a long time? Maybe, you don't feel good after you've been around them or after you've spoken to them. Do they make you really tired? Um, Are you just not really vibing with each other anymore? And it's just, you're just around each other because it's what you've always done. So that's what you're going to continue to do. Never a good idea. Never a good idea to do something just because it's always been done that way. So as we move these time and energy suckers out of our sphere, it makes space for something new to come in. So, as they say, your vibe is your tribe, or your tribe is your vibe. You want to surround yourself with people who you don't want people who are yes people and who do everything exactly the same as you do, but you want to find people who inspire you, people who will bounce ideas off of each other, people who will disagree and have a good debate with one another and be fine afterwards because you guys figured stuff out, even if you don't agree at the end. You still figured stuff out, and that's what's important. You need to make space, and that's physical space, energetic space, head space, time space, if you want things to come in. If you're busy all the time and you don't have time for anything, but you're looking for a relationship, there's no space for it. Where is it supposed to fit? How is it supposed to fit in? And a lot of people have magical thinking where they think, "Oh, well, if it's the right person, it'll just fit and it'll just flow." Not if you haven't made the space, because when you don't have the space and you haven't made an energetic space or an emotional place for it, then what happens is when that person enters your life, they feel that pushback. They feel that, I don't have time for this. I have time for you. And then they walk away. So if you want someone in your life, you have to make space in your life for that. And we could talk for hours on that itself. Tonight, what we want to focus on is I want you, it's probably best if you have pen and paper with you or something that you could take notes on. Of course, this is going to be recorded, so you could always watch it again. Thank you. Make a list of things that you feel no longer really serve you, that don't really support you. Things that drain your energy and don't give anything back. Like maybe you've been in a book club forever, but you kind of don't like the books they're reading anymore. You're really not that friendly with everybody anymore. Maybe it's just something you do. Maybe it's something you could give up. Maybe it's getting rid of old clothes. Maybe you lost weight or you gained weight and they don't fit you anymore. Going through your closet and passing on what you can to others. You get good karma points for that too. Making space. I had a friend in Hawaii, and when he decided he wanted to be in a relationship, one of the things he did was he cleared out his apartment, got rid of anything that didn't have to be there, and bought himself a nice big bed. And when he bought himself that bed and he decorated the room and he kept 2 drawers empty on his bureau. He had 2 drawers that were his and 2 drawers that were gonna be hers. And within a month, he met his future wife. But he made the space first. He wasn't trying to fit her in where there was no space. He was very conscious about it. And that's what this full moon, that's what this period of time is asking you to do, to be very conscious about what you're doing. Because as I said, things are manifesting quickly. And if you want to be able to manifest the things that will bring you joy, that will brighten your life, that will make things better, you have to make space for them. So a lot of things are happening energetically to the earth itself, to us as people, and astrologically. One of the things that's happening is that the earth, I mean, lately we've really been bombarded by a lot of I think cosmic rays and sun flares, solar flares, things like that. I don't have the right language for it. But these things, when the sun lets off this kind of energy and it comes into the earth, even if it's just brushing against us, like it's not full on to the planet, but it's coming past and just barely touching us, it still leaves a lot of energy in our atmosphere. The earth takes in this energy and it can cause things like earthquakes and a lot of these storms and things like that. What we can do is we can harvest this energy and we could ground ourselves in the earth, which is something that Taurus is very good at, grounding. And we can use this energy in order to manifest the world that we want. We want peace. Right now, with the energy being all over the place and it's off the charts and it's um, very intense. That's a good word. Very intense. People are going to do different things with it. Some people are going to be so happy and so joyful and bouncing off the walls and dancing and loving life. And other people are going to be miserable, not happy, want to fight with everybody. And that's the way they're going to release the tension in their bodies. Some people are going to be very loving. Some people are going to be very physically affectionate. Other people are going to beat people up or beat their dogs up or do things like that, like things that we would not do. When we see this happening, when we see the road rage or we see the um, people being impatient, our job is to take note, and if it's safe and we can, to bring down the temperature. Take a deep breath and let it go. And take a deep breath and let it go. When people look at one another, I don't know if you've ever done this in a fight, an argument, I should say, not a fight, in an argument. People will mirror each other. So if the other person is escalating and you don't escalate, they eventually will come down to where you are. Depending on how much the person wants to hold on to that, it may take longer or it might not. I have a friend who was famous. We were managers together in movie theaters. So we're talking a lot of people came through our doors and people would get angry or frustrated or come in drunk or whatever the deal was. And he was stellar at dealing with people because blank slate would not give them anything back. They could yell in his face and get this close to him and he would not move. And it was not like, like he was standing up like that. It was just like he always had like, and we'll call it an open look. I was like, and and they would wear themselves out. And then they'd be like, well, okay. And 9 out of 10, they would apologize to him and say thank you and then leave. So when we don't meet people where they are, if they're frustrated or angry, it doesn't mean that you're not saying, all right, I understand why you're frustrated or I understand why you're angry. It's just not getting angry with them. My father was beautiful with this. You could yell and scream and whatever, and my father would lower his voice. And then everybody else would stop and listen because he was so calm and he had a deep voice and he just like be like, stop. And everything would stop because he was so calm. It just radiated out of him. And that's why also you have a baby who's throwing a hissy fit or an adult who's throwing a hissy fit. And you look at them and you just breathe real deep and slow. Deep and slow. And look at them while you're doing it. And they will start breathing more deeply, and as they breathe more deeply, it's harder to hold on to that anger and all that frenetic energy, it releases it. That's why I used to get my child to stop pitching a fit. If they were, like, really rammy, I would just hold her and breathe real deep, and then she would begin breathing deeply. So all those things to say, we are in charge of what we're gonna do with all this energy right now that's on the planet, all this energy that's around us. We could either feed the fear or we could go towards inspiration, joy, peace. And it's not like empty joy or like peace, like you're not looking at stuff. It's actual. The more of us that hit the vibration where we are breathing deeply and settling down and becoming more stable and more grounded, the more the earth does that. the more the earth calms down, the more she can breathe. The more we support her, the more she supports us. And this is the way we want it to be, isn't it? There is a way that we can all be peaceful. It's not a zero-sum game. It's not if you win, I lose. We can all win. We just need to make that decision that that's what we're doing, that we don't need to step on top of one another to do that. So, with that in mind, I'm going to get off my soapbox. And if you got your pen and paper, I would like you to write down, or you could write it in the chat, what your intentions are going into 2025. What are your intentions for the next 60 days? What are your intentions as we go into the new year? What would you like to see happen? And remember, things are manifesting quickly, so things will come up sooner than that. The other thing that I wanted to mention is that when we are making space, if we don't do it, spirit will do it for us. So be aware of that. What does that look like? We are in a job that we don't like. They don't particularly like us. We keep saying we're going to quit. We keep saying we're going to go somewhere else. And then suddenly we're made to go somewhere else. We lose the job, get laid off, whatever that looks like. Spirit is making space for something else to come in. When that happens, we have two options. We can either, well, three options. You could either cry over it, you could be really angry, or you could take it as spirit giving you a break so that you can then find something that suits you better, something that is more aligned with who you are and what you want to do. Whenever we're moving towards something, whenever we're being pulled towards something, if we don't respond, and it's something we have agreed to in our soul contract, then what happens is you get a little nudge, you get a little nudge, you get a little nudge, and then you get hit by a 2x4. We don't want to get to that point where we get hit by the 2x4 in order to move us because we're not paying attention. Pay attention. Listen to your instincts. Listen to your intuition. Move. Get rid of things that don't need to be there anymore. Make space. Okay? So I want you to put in the chat or write down what your intentions are for the coming year. And it can be, you could be as pie in the sky as you want to be. Be aware, though, of your thinking when you're writing something and you're like, oh, I'll never do that. That'll never happen. Because if we are the ones putting roadblocks in front of ourselves, those are the hardest ones to get past. Other people could throw all kinds of stuff in front of us and we will jump over it. But when it comes to us doing it to ourselves, fight for your limitations and they shall be yours. Another one I like is excuses are the nails that build houses of failure. So talk yourself up, not down. That's unnecessary. So I'm going to put in the chat. I'll start. Intentions. You would think I wouldn't look at the keys anymore. I mean, I did have typewriting in high school. That's how old I am. But I'm still not that good. So intentions to have better and consistent money flow. to allow and accept more than I need. I let go of anything unlike love. So love encapsulates a lot. It's more than just a romantic partner or loving your parents or your siblings or anything like that. Love is about an expression and a feeling and a vibration. Love is a very high vibration, and love and joy go hand in hand. And that vibration will help you to overcome obstacles, even if you're putting them in front of yourself, because it'll give you the impetus to then jump, then to make your way. So, for instance, like we were talking about earlier, if you want to move, you want to do something completely different, and you've been looking at it and researching it and looking at it, and you keep telling, well, I can't because, get rid of the I can't because. How can you? And instead of why not, why would you? Give yourself the reasons to move forward instead of fighting for the things that are going to hold you down and keep you back. When we do this, amazing things can happen. I lived in Hawaii for close to a decade. The way I got there the first time, when I moved there the first time, I had an 18-month-old baby, one suitcase, and $200 in my pocket. And I moved there because I prayed and I asked Spirit and I told Spirit exactly what I needed. I need a place to live. I need to be able to make a living, and I need to be able to keep my baby with me and keep her safe. Within 6 days, I had a beautiful two-bedroom apartment in a place called Nu'uanu Valley, which the other name of it is the Valley of Magic. It's way up on the hill. It was beautiful. We were not too far outside of Waikiki. I walked there almost every day. I found a job on the other side of the island, but they gave me a car, and I was working, and I got to meet different people, and I was doing my work as I do now, doing readings over the phone and in person and things like that. And it was amazing. And it would not have happened if I just said, well, this is impossible. Everything's so expensive and da 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 and talk myself out of it. It's really easy to talk yourself out of a good thing. It can be easy to open yourself up and allow things to come to you, but you have to have faith. Sometimes you have to have patience, but you also have to be able to see the possibilities and see the opportunities when they're given to you. One of the things I always tell my clients is not to say, this is what I need, and say, this is how much money I need for, like, I need $500 to buy a mattress. You don't need $500 to buy a mattress. You need a mattress. There's 50 different ways you can get a mattress. But if you're just looking to get the money, you might get the money, but then it needs to go to something else. Maybe your tire goes flat or something else happens. So you don't focus on the middleman, you focus on the goal. Stop getting stuck in the weeds. You may not be able to see how you get there. You may not be able to see how things work. But what you want to see is the goal. Keep your eye on the prize is what I always say. You got to keep looking and know what you're shooting for, so that when things come into your purview and opportunities arise that get you closer to that, you take them. And believe me, it was horrifying. It was very scary going with a baby and being a single parent, and I knew exactly 2 people on the whole island. But during my time there, I met some of my closest and dearest friends. and I raised my child there, and it was a wonderful place to raise a child. And somehow I did it, even with everything being so expensive and whatnot. I figured out a way, and Spirit made it easy. Spirit gave me what I needed when I needed it. So faith is a big component of that also. Okay, so if you have intentions that you want to bring in or things you want to get rid of, put them in the chat, write them down, and then we'll start doing the ceremony. One of the things we may want to do before we do this ceremony is just talk about some of the things that we're going to utilize. So I told you guys to bring your candles. These are my favorite candles. They used to be 7-day candles. Now they are not 7-day candles anymore. They are safety candles. They're 8 inches, I think now. And I don't remember them being bigger. They just lasted longer. I don't know why. But they come in all different colors. You can never go wrong with white. I have so many different colors, I can't even tell you. Because whenever I see different colors, I get excited and I purchase them. Where do you get these? These are prayer candles also, and you can get these. Most grocery stores have them. A lot of times they'll be in the Mexican food section. And you can usually find them at Dollar Tree and dollar stores. A lot of times will have them, and they'll be like $1.25 or $1.50 a piece. Some people sell them, they might be a little bit smaller and they have like prayers implanted in them and that kind of thing. I'm going to show you how to bless your candle and we're going to use it. Why is mine orange? I chose orange today because we are talking about manifestation. We're talking about pulling in and creating something that we want or need, or whatever is going to help us lift our vibration to the highest it can be and be in that space. Orange is the color of creation. It is the color of creativity. It's the color of joy and fall and summer. I think of orange as summer. I don't know why. I always wore orange all summer from when I was a kid. But anyway, it is your sacral chakra. So it is the chakra of creation where we get the inspiration and then we create. It is for the woman, it's our womb. So that's why I felt that orange would be really good for tonight, because we're talking about creating. Okay. So what that will do when we bless it, we're going to bless it to burn away what we don't need anymore, and then to pull in that which will help us move forward. Then I have different crystals. So I don't know if any of you guys want to put in the chat like what crystals you have, if we want to talk about different ones. I always have tons and tons of crystals with me because I love them. So this is pyrite, otherwise known as fool's gold. And pyrite is an excellent stone for manifestation. It's an excellent stone for prosperity. It's also good for protection. Although, let me get my other stones. I have so many. All right. So, and some of the other stones that we'll work with tonight are lapis lazuli. I don't know if you could see the gold in this. It's got like bands of gold. And that's the pyrite and the lapis lazuli. So lapis lazuli looks like the night sky. This is also lapis. And the very high quality lapis is this color. I think this one is dyed. It's probably more of a denim lapis. But this is not dyed. That is just very high quality lapis. And the highest quality lapis comes from Afghanistan. And it's expensive. So if somebody's selling it to you cheap, it's not real, because it's not easy to come by. The ones that are more gray that they call denim lapis, those are less expensive because that is the stone that they used to throw away. So what does lapis do? Lapis lazuli opens up your third eye, which is also indigo. It helps you see further. It helps you open to your intuition, but also open to communicating with your spirit guides and guardians. You can say it helps you to connect with your angels. So, and this represents the chakra system. So the chakra system are energy centers in your body, or it's kind of in the middle of your body and your energy bodies. And this is where energy flows. So this is the root. This is the sacral that we were talking about. That is orange. And this looks like pink feldspar to me. And then you have the solar plexus, which is yellow. The heart, which actually is pink and green, but most people will either use green or pink, but it's both. And then the third eye, oh no, the throat, the third eye, and then the crown. So, and what they use for the third eye here is, it's called labradorite. And it'll have a shine like that. You see that blue? The blue flash. Some of them have blue flash, some of them have an orange or a red flash. And there's a really nice piece right there. So that's labradorite. Labradorite will also enhance your third eye. Lapis lazuli is also a very protective stone. I like working with stones that help in a lot of different ways. So we have that. This is called flower agate. I don't know if you could. I know it doesn't. It's either almond. Here we go. Maybe if I do that. Ooh, isn't that pretty? Isn't that beautiful? Oh, come on. There we go. Isn't that beautiful? And I always choose stones that have like holes in them. They're called windows. So if you notice, like this one's got one right there. And when we work with stones that have windows, it allows you to like energetically really connect with the stone and go into it. So it really allows you to connect with the energy very strongly. I love stones like that. So tonight we're talking mostly about grounding and manifestation. So whenever you're doing anything, you always want to do, you want to ground yourself, you want to set your intention, you want to clear, and then you do whatever you want to do next. So this is hematite, and hematite is also a very strong stone for protection. So if you look, these are our two stones that are the metallic stones. So this looks kind of silvery, and this is gold. Balance, my friends, balance. So it's the conscious and the subconscious. I could play with my stones all day long, so I'm going to leave those be. Like I said in the beginning, don't overthink it. And I'm overthinking. Okay? All right. So I would suggest, if you haven't already, then to go and get a drink of water, a glass of water. I have my cup of hot chocolate instead of my water with me, just because I'm spoiled today. But water is the best thing to have. So I do have my coconut water. I'm not going to show the label. And we're going to bless our water before we start. And that's how we're going to start the whole ceremony. It's best if you have real paper that you can write things on, and then if you have a candle, If you don't right now, that's okay. You could watch this later and do it again. But these are the best things to use for this particular process, because you do want to write down what it is you want to manifest. We're going to have that under the candle, which is why we're using a glass candle. But if you don't have a candle that's in glass, whatever you have the candle on, you put the paper underneath it. You don't want it to burn down and then start a fire by burning the paper and all that good stuff. Safety first. Always, always. Okay. So, Miss Taurus. All right. So I do have my Lunar Oracle cards, and we're gonna throw them. Okay, so this one jumped away from me. So I assume this is the one that wants to be read. Or these two that flew onto the ground. Oh, interesting. All right. So the first we have is the waxing moon, and it says now is a good time to focus on your own personal goals. So that has a lot to do with what we've been talking about really setting your intention and moving towards it and allowing yourself to see and accept the opportunities that come to you. And the second is Moon in Pisces. And what Moon in Pisces is telling us is you really need to be careful of negative thoughts and feeding those thoughts. Do not feed the fear. Do not feed the negativity, because if that's what you're focusing on, that's what you're bringing into your life. That's what you're going to pull it right towards you. You're going to create it, because things are moving very quickly. And because things are moving very quickly, we have to be very aware of our thinking and where our energy is going. All right. So those two, Moon in Pisces, waxing moon. And we will put those aside. Here we have this. And if you have incense or anything like that that you want to burn, have fun. Go ahead and do that. I have way too much stuff on my desk, and I have a cat over here. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is bless our water. Take the water or the glass in your hands and say, now you can change it. I say God, I say my soul, I say Christ. You can say Goddess if you want to. You can say Lord. You can say Allah. Whatever it is you want to say, that's fine. Intentions. Yes. Cool. All right. So let's get our water and we're going to hold it. And I bless this water into the service of my soul. And I program it for my highest and greatest good. Support, cleanse, and refresh me. Amen. And kiss. I kiss everything, because love is very high vibration, and that seals the deal too. So the first thing we're going to do is take a drink. Okay. All right. So step number 2, candle. And we bless in a very similar way. Take a deep breath and relax. And again. And relax. I bless this candle into the service of the Lord, and I program it for my highest and greatest good. Please allow me to be inspired, ignite my intuition, my inspiration, my motivation. Grant me the strength, the foresight, and the energy that I may be of service to the world and live to my greatest and highest potential. As I say it, so mote it be. Amen. Okay, and then we light the candle. Third time's a charm. Okay, so we have our candle going. Okay. I want you to be able to see the candle. I know. Do it this way. Okay. All right. Now, look at your gemstones if you have them, and select the gemstones you want to work with tonight. So I'm going to work with, this is a moss agate that my friend Jody gave me. I love the little heart that's there. So moss agate for grounding and to be of the earth. And then this is celestite. And to me, this looks like a little baby and like a little crib. And this is for the all that is and my connection to source and connection to the angels and the higher realms, so that I have balance, one on each side. Okay. All right. Take a deep breath. There's a ball of white light above our heads. It looks like the moon. Silvery white light emanates from it to enter us to the tops of our heads and fills us with its energy. Feel the energy of the moon as it moves through you, clearing out the old, making space for the new, breaking the chains that bind you, removing blockages. The energy of the moon moves through you like a waterfall. Feel it as it washes away all negativity. It washes away your fear. It washes away the doubt. And feel as it moves through you, filling you up with a silvery white light, and it pours over you and around you. It fills up your space, your aura, your home, above and below, to the right, the left, in front, behind, and within. Feel it as it gently lifts you up. Like a mermaid or a dolphin. You play in the silvery white waters, free and energized. Feel yourself as you're floating. We're in the ocean. You could smell the salt water around you and taste it on your lips. You feel the breeze on your skin. And you look up into the sky, and the full moon smiles down with countless stars and bold, bright planets. And you allow yourself to lift up and be carried. Floating on the wind. And you move into the clouds and out past the earth. And we go to greet the moon. And she is swathed in all of her brilliance. The soul of the moon greets you. She smiles and beckons to you to sit. She offers you a treat. Takes your hand and kisses your cheek. I have an unrelenting love for you. I watch you as the nights pass. I watch your dreams and your nightmares. I hold and comfort you when you allow. And you are held. Feel the unconditional, unrelenting love as it permeates your entire body and your soul Feel this love of the mother, of the feminine, as it embraces you, protects you, and heals you. Feel the sacred feminine within you rise up to meet her. As she empowers and rejuvenates your feminine aspects and source, your creativity, your intuition, as her love embraces you and moves through you on every level. You feel yourself becoming lighter and lighter, and brighter and brighter. And you see before you a parchment. On it is written a message especially for you, a picture, a color, a word, a psalm, a place, a space. When you're ready, put your hands together, palm to palm, fingertip to fingertip, in prayer pose. With this, we are setting this energy so that when you need it, you may call it back. You will feel yourself in this space, at this height, with this loving kindness all around you, embracing you, inspiring you. And we feel our bodies once more. And we bid farewell to the moon and her energy. We feel her love around us always. The sacred feminine in all her forms. And we feel ourselves gently floating back through the clouds, back down into the ocean as the moon is further and further, but her light shines through us and in us and upon us. And we float back. We see the stars and the planets. And we feel the cool water and the gentle hug of the waves. And from there, we feel ourselves become more solid. We feel our bodies, our weight, resting on our chair or our bed. We feel our feet and our fingertips. We breathe deeply and gently let go. As we receive the love and the light of the all that is, of God, of Source, and the gold and the silver intertwine, the masculine and the feminine, the inspiration and the movement, and we are at peace, and we are one. And when you're ready, open your eyes. Take a deep breath. Come back into your body. And may blessings be with you always. Whew. So now it's time. If you have any questions, if you want to talk about what you saw or what you felt, and remember the divine feminine is with all of us, whether you are a man or a woman. We all have masculine and feminine within us, and it balances in its own unique way for each of us. In our world, it seems that the feminine is often disregarded and set aside, even though her strength is in her inspiration, intuition, and loving kindness. And that's something we all need to remember. I don't know if you could hear my cat snoring next to me. Oh, she just woke up. She's like, "Are you telling people I snore?" So I think for right now, that should be good. I might be coming on a little bit later to do a little bit of a card pull and have some fun. Let me know what you thought, and let me know what happens in the next couple of days. If you're watching the replay, please remember to like and subscribe. Again, my name is Psychic Intuitive GeralynStJoseph. You can find me at voiceofspirit.com, here on YouTube, or on Meetup at Mystery, Mystics, and Metaphysics, or Relationship Empowerment. I hope you enjoyed our time together as much as I did. And I'm going to end the stream. Have a good night, all. Thank you, Carol, for everything. Mahalo.